As I said before, audio program interfaces are fairly similar. Soundation is a bit strange because it's a Flash-based web interface and not a program installed on your computer. Just type soundation.com into any browser, create an account, and you're good to go. Unfortunately, Soundation doesn't let you export audio tracks without a pro account. You can still automate effects on MIDI tracks and export them, so if you want to go the totally free route, I'll show you how to use a combination of Audacity and Soundation to create your assignments and projects. If you just want to use Soundation for audio tracks, you'll need to pay for an account. I signed up for 1 month of a power user account, which was $4.99 using PayPal. I then canceled the automatic monthly payments, so I paid for just 1 month. Once you have an account, you go to the Studio section to begin working with audio. In Soundation, your transport section is on the bottom. In order to change your input settings, you have to go to the Settings, Edit, Settings menu. This is where you can adjust your input and output settings. Select the microphone to adjust your input settings. Just like Audacity, you have an input slider and a level meter. Anytime you want to adjust your levels, you have to go into this menu, but there is a level meter for input and output on the main interface. It's on the bottom to the right of the transport. Just like Audacity, Soundation has a vertical line which indicates the playhead. There's also a timeline above the tracks. This timeline doesn't indicate timing information in minutes and seconds, instead it's showing measures and beats. If you have musical training, feel free to work within this musical grid, but I find that most students create a stronger work without the pressure of a beat-based timeline. As far as I can tell, Soundation only allows for a 4/4 time signature, so be aware of that limitation. For students without a musical background, unfortunately, Soundation doesn't let you change that timeline into a clock, but you can change the representation of beats and measures by the transport, into minutes and seconds by clicking the indicator next to the transport window. The tempo indicator is to the right. If you set it to 60 beats per minute, or 1 beat per second, each line on the timeline will indicate 1 second. You may have noticed one other difference in the timeline from Audacity. There's an area highlighted in yellow. This is the loop area. When you press play, only the selected area will play, over and over. This is very useful when adjusting settings on effects. You just click and hold on the timeline to adjust the loop area. You can turn this feature on and off easily with the loop button, which is located in the transport. Just like in Audacity, you can change your view from an overview of your whole piece to a small segment. The 2 sliders next to your tracks change the vertical and horizontal zoom. Once you've recorded some audio, you'll notice that the waveform is represented on the screen. The box it's in is called an audio region. You can move these audio regions around on your timeline and even from track to track by clicking on their title bar and dragging them into place. To delete, just highlight and click delete on your keyboard. You may have noticed that some of my audio regions are dark and there's a line on the track. This is Automation View, and you get to it by going to the Automation menu. Automation is one of the most important features in audio editing. In Soundation, you can either move your audio regions around, or you can automate your settings. Automation can show controls for volume, panning, or whatever other effects you've added to your track. You can easily add tracks using the New Track button in the lower left with the plus sign on it. Don't worry about the other Add Track button with the musical notes. That's to add a MIDI track, and we haven't gotten there yet. Speaking of MIDI, Soundation defaults to open with a MIDI track. It's the track that's blue. For this week, you can click and hit your delete key to remove it. While you're doing track maintenance, you should also rename your tracks by double-clicking the name of the track. Currently, it's Audio Channel 1, which isn't very descriptive. Instead, I'll name it Space, to remind myself this is the track where I'll change the reverb. It's good to get in the habit of labeling your tracks, just as you labeled your layers in your work with images. Most of the space on my window is taken up by the track descriptors and another area called the library. The library area shows you the resources you can use for your project. Right now, it's showing that I've recorded 2 audio files. Note that the name matches the name on the region. You can turn off the library view by hitting the library button in the lower left of your window. If you import files, they'll also show up in the library area. To import files, go to the File menu in the Soundation interface and select Input Audio File. Play around with your view settings until it's comfortable for you.